everybody, Ryan here with Ray's latest. Today we're going to talk about the struggled start that Drew Rasmussen had against the Phillies on Thursday, as well as just some other random tidbits from the game as well that I've seen, and kind of just round out in shape of kind of how the end of the spring is going for the Rays. But the main thing I want to talk about, obviously, is Drew Rasmussen's final tune-up start before his opening day start. Thursday against the Phillies did not go as planned. He gave up 11 hits and 8 runs, 7 earned, and 3 homers, walked two, and only struck out three in 6 innings, or 5 and a third, or 5 and 2/3, 83 pitches, 58 strikes. That's a concerning line. I mean, obviously, from a perspective of the Phillies organization, it's a good organization, good team, good roster. Obviously, you have the Bryce Harpers. You have the Schwarbers, you have players like that, and it's a great organization. But for a spring training start, it is a little bit concerning to see those type of numbers. And obviously, come the regular season, he wouldn't be out there that long, but it is spring training. It does not matter. And so he's just out there throwing until he hits his pitch count, which I would assume was probably 80 to 85, probably upwards to the 85. BJ did come in to close out the final third of an inning that he could not get. So I would go out to venture and say that 80 pitches was probably his line set for him for this start. So obviously you go 5 and 2/3, you give up 11 hits, 8 runs, 7 earned with 3 walks. That's not going to get you anything. And is there some things that you can take from this? Obviously, as I'm about to get into, he did find some positives in this. He said it was the old rare ass kicking, but efficient. He said, I'm not overly concerned. Off-speed pitch velocities were right, which typically would lead me to believe that they were going to be okay. If the off-speed pitches are in the right velo ranges, and sometimes it happens where the velo on the fastball is not where you would expect it to be. So from his perspective, he sees this as kind of he thought his off-speed pitches just from a velocity wise, which for those of you that might not know, just kind of the velocity with off-speed pitches kind of not necessarily directly correlates, but it correlates pretty highly with kind of how your pitches move. And the faster you throw them, the more spin, the more bite, the more horizontal break you're going to get, the more vertical break you're going to get, and things of that nature. So as long as he thinks and he sees that his off-speed velocities are well, that's really kind of what I like to see going into an opening day start is just as long as his stuff is where he thinks it should be, his pitchability is going to take over at some point. And obviously, you have those days where they just have your number, whether that's he might have been tipping pitches, whether that's just not executing to the extent that he wanted to execute at. Things happen. And from a pitching perspective, I know from experience, you have days where you feel unbelievable and the ball's coming out of your hand like it's just teleporting to the catcher's mitt, and the ball gets turned around for 450 feet multiple times, and you're just like, what the heck do I need to do different? Sometimes there's just nothing you can do. You just get beat. And so I think that obviously the 11 hits, that's not just him getting beat. There's definitely a consistency and a trend with that of what everybody was seeing. And so I am concerned to kind of see how he translates this to opening day and kind of see if he can morph this into something efficient and kind of see a positive out of this. But I truly do think he's going to turn it around next week, and we'll see a much better and much more improved Drew Rasmussen come opening day in St. Louis. And obviously, with kind of how our rotation's set out with Matz and McClanahan kind of being on pitch counts, we would love to see McClanahan, Pepio, Martinez kind of stretch games a little longer than normal because I would hate so much to get behind in the division race early on, kind of just getting Matz and McClanahan back into full form. And obviously, if you could just hang around, if you get McClanahan especially back to full form, I think the sky's the limit with that. And so I do think that just being able to get ahead, get a win opening day, kind of have him perform the best that he can is just going to be great for him and for the Tampa Bay Rays. But the next thing we'll talk about is kind of just a little bit some tidbits from the game. Obviously, Velati, he had a homer this spring, or this game, his first of the spring. The Rays are currently standing at 8, 16, and 1, which is worst in the Florida Spring League by not really a close margin. He did have another hit. Uh, Founso Martinez, who spent the 2025 season in the Florida Complex League, also hit a homer. And just some other things. Like BJ, Kevin Kelly, and Gomez all had great outings. Nick Fortes backpicked the runner off of first and threw another guy out at second, which is that's good to see. I mean, obviously he's kind of had the better bat this spring compared to Fiducia, and him kind of just translating that defensive ability to the field as well makes it kind of one of those things where I would expect him to be the opening day catcher. And obviously, with Rasmussen throwing to him, that's kind of one of those things where I could see that trending in that direction because you want because a lot of times pitchers love their catchers, especially like what just like for the Yankees, for example. Kyle Higashioka, he rarely played for the Yankees, but Garrett Cole loved throwing to him. So he's on the roster just for Garrett Cole to throw to him. And granted, he did some other things along the way, but he was Garrett Cole's primary catcher. And every time Garrett Cole touched the mound, Kyle Higashioka was behind the plate for him. And so I think that we're going to kind of see that with Fortes catching or Rasmussen in his last start of the spring. I think that we'll see that translate to the first start of the actual season. But some other things, Matt Lubator, who was traded from the Rays, is going to be pitching against the Rays this coming weekend. So it'd be kind of interesting to kind of see how he translates from the Rays organization to the Cardinals or the Cardinals organization. He's been there for a while, and so he's been great for them. I mean, I was really upset that we kind of got rid of him at the end of the day, but we did get Randy out of that. So I will take. I don't even care what prospect we ever gave up for Randy Rosarina. It could have been Carson Williams. I would argue that Junior Caminero would be one that I'd be a little upset with now. But we could have gave up Carson Williams, we could have gave up Xavier Isaac, we could have given up anybody else in our farm system for Randy Rosarina, and I would be perfectly content from what I got with Randy Rosarina in that playoffs in that 2020 playoffs. I mean, that run was phenomenal. The most home runs hit in a playoff series. It was fantastic. I would not trade anything for that, but we will see Liberatore pitch against the Rays opening weekend. So I am kind of excited to see how that goes and kind of see how things translate for the Rays going into that Cardinals weekend series and kind of see how we do, especially with Rasmussen struggling, how he did today, and to kind of see how he picks up where he left off and kind of see if he translates any of what's going on this past outing into the future outings, or if he kind of flips script and kind of changes things up from there. But you guys let me know what you guys think about Rasmussen's outing, as well as any other tidbits from the spring training game today against the Phillies. And you guys have a great one.